Now, before I get into what makes them challenging, I will say they are great to hold. Most arboreal snakes are not the best to handle. These ones actually are. Where you run into a caveat is their Hello everyone, it is Landyn from Tye-Dyed Iguana, and today I want to talk to you guys about some challenging reptiles, specifically my top 3 hardest species to take care of. Just a quick disclaimer before we start. Everything I talk about in this video is not trying to discourage you to purchase any of these animals. We still want you to have them and they are still incredible pets. They're just a bit more challenging. So maybe if it's a first one, I wouldn't do it, but if you have a few and you want to explore into it, 100% do it. So we're currently over at number 1. As you can see, one of them is currently trying to climb out, and that goes right into our first topic of the sulcata tortoise. They will dig down, they will dig out, they will carve through walls. They are very destructive animals. Obviously, other than that, the elephant in the room is they get huge. They do not need a tank. They need a full-on pen, a room. It's just an entire big space for them. They are indeed the 3rd largest species in the world, behind the Galapagos and the Aldabra species. These guys also eat an absolute ton of food. You will need to feed them a lot. For their giant size, they eat a lot. And then one other thing that I think is pretty notable, they live a long time. So if you buy one now, your kid's gonna have them, your grandkids will have them, so he or she will be taken care of through many generations. So to recap, they get ginormous, they need a lot of space, they eat a ton, they dig down, they dig out, they carve through walls, they just love to tear things up, which is why we have wooden boards here, and they live about 100 years. Let's move over to our next one. All right, next up, we are over here at our panther chameleon. Now I'm gonna talk about all chameleons, but I will also talk about some of these specifics. So let's just start with all chameleons. The first thing you will see is they are not in a glass cage. They do need that screen enclosure because the glass cage can cause problems with humidity actually. So the screen cage allows for more airflow, which they require. One other thing is when they drink water, the water cannot be standstill. It has to be flowing water. So you can get like a dripper plant or other forms of it. And then they also require heavy spraying, especially if you're looking at your panther chameleon. Panthers need a lot of humidity. Now, if you go on the opposite side of a veiled, those guys actually, if they have too much, it will cause problems. Other than that, they are actually very anxiety-full species of animal. They get very stressed easily. They don't like a lot of hands-on. So too much of that can also cause a lot of health problems. So not only do they have the special cage, they need flowing water, they need a lot of airflow, and then certain species need more humidity while others don't. There will be certain chameleons that are more tolerable to handling, but that doesn't mean that you should all the time. They are definitely a great visual pet. And our third and final one we are going to look at today is our Indonesian tree boa. Now, before I get into what makes them challenging, I will say they are great to hold. Most arboreal snakes are not the best to handle. These ones actually are. Where you run into a caveat is their feeding. You need very specialized foods, such as house geckos, anoles, things like that, where most of your snakes you're gonna be feeding will be doing mice and rats. So you run into the fact that you could have feeding challenges because again, they do eat geckos. But on the bright side, they do have very pretty terrariums. They don't get super big, so you don't need a huge enclosure, and they are handleable. You will just have that problem of feeding. So if it is a first snake, I would try a snake that eats mice and rats first, and then explore the Indonesian tree boa. And then their care is just like every other tropical snake. You have to spray, you want the live plants, you want the good fun soils. So it is pretty much the same in that aspect, you just have to worry about the feeding. All right guys, so that is just 3 of our most challenging reptiles we have here. We have a plethora of options, some easy, some hard. So definitely ask us if you want to know a difficulty level. And once again, just because they are challenging, I am not trying to discourage you. Just make sure you are experienced enough and you feel comfortable so then our scaly friends can have good homes.